Real Talk.
Welcome back, everyone. Real talk, real talk. So now let's start with really some very serious, very important, very high-level issues. Pag-usapan po natin itong issue ng decorum in the highest chamber of the land.
Bigote.
Kasi komi-komi. May comments dyan.
Basta wala akong suklay.
Tsaka yung mga iba dyan na nagmamakawa daw dun sa Senado para umamin yung mga pulis. Alam niyo na sino yan. Yan, okay.
Parang sinabi ni Senator Robin, wala daw masama naman doon sa ginagawa niya.
Right.
Ano ang inyong masasabi?
So, context lang. No? I mean, siyempre may Itbulaga angle kasi si Tito Soto along with Franklin Drilon, no, ito yung mga titos of Senado, medyo nag-express sila ng slight concern about parang nawawala yung decorum. I think the term that Franklin Drilon used was prestige, no, yung prestige ng office. Sana hindi mawala. But and the context was some would say antics, some would say, just the peculiar character of Senator Bato de la Rosa and Robin Padilla. I think in fairness to Bato de la Rosa, he admitted na, minsan nakalimutan ko na hindi na ako police, so umamin siya na nag-apologize siya. But Robin Padilla was very adamant. Siyempre, number one siya eh. Last elections, that makes you very, no, bakit, anong mali? And if I'm not mistaken, Marcelo del Pilar or something like that, yung pe-play niya, hindi na siya Bonifacio. Parang may pelikula siya bago, di ba?
Kaya ganun.
Exactly. Tanong ko yung mga kaibigan ko sila Jano, yung mga ganun. Kayo, kamusta? Anong basa niyo sa decorum situation sa Senado? Is it becoming circus? Is it becoming more relatable, more exciting, more interesting? What's going on there?
Well, number one, ang napansin ko dito siguro yung pagiging complacent ng mga, sabihin nating mga senador, given na nasa admin sila or nasa majority, they're very confident,
Life is good.
Na hindi sila makikriticize. Tapos, siguro, nadala na rin siguro na hubris na, dala namin yung suporta ng mga tao, tapos magagawa namin yung gusto namin. So, ang punto ko lang dito kasi, parang sana wag naman nilang kalimutan na yung Senado nga, tulad na rin na nasabi ng former senator na si Ping Lacson na, chamber ito ng mga respetadong tao, mga sabihin natin, veteranong politiko, na sila yung protector ng tradisyon, protector ng, sabihin natin, mga nakagawian natin, mga magagandang asal. So, maganda yung ginawa ni Senator Bato, na nag-apologize siya, at least apologetic. Pero siguro sa ating mahal na senador na si Robin Hood Padilla, na sana mapag-isipan niya na mayroon talaga na parang practices na dapat mong or protocol.
Sorry for mentioning, kasi actually I had to also say Ping Lacson, Zaire Lacson, he tweeted the other day, nothing wrong with winning an election using popularity and gimmickry. Given yan, election yan that's all part of democracy. The thing is, once you take your oath of office, stop being a showman and start becoming a statesman. Honor, not humor. So, hindi lang si Franklin Drilon, you also have some very senior former senators who could still become senators in the near future, also raising that concern. So yun. So, it's multiple persons raising. Kasi kung si Franklin Drilon lang, siguro sabihin, kasi opposition yan, bitter yan, ganyan sabihin nila, di ba? But no Tito Soto is there, Ping Lacson is there. These are not necessarily opposition. These are people who have very good relationship with the current administration on multiple levels. So, yun lang sinasabi. So for you, there's element of hubris nanalo kami. Number 1 ako nung last year.
Tapos, yung supermajority presence. Parang they feel that lahat ito katropa or kasundo nila. Maliit lang yung opposition ngayon sa Senate. So, walang makikriticize.
Is this a Duterte effect? You could say this is a Duterte legacy too?
Yeah.
Because they saw Duterte getting away with anything almost.
Yeah.
Mas lax, mas.
Hindi lang lax. I mean, self-indulgent almost. Like, I do it because I can, you know what I'm saying? Ikaw, Gian, what's your reading of the whole decorum debate? Do you think this is an elitist thing? Yung mga abogado dyan gusto nila gano'n? Or you think there should be a balance between relatability and entertainment? Because you want to get people included. Because we'll discuss about Tulfos, because Tulfo keep things entertaining, but I don't think there's an issue with decorum so far with Senator Raffy Tulfo, right? Ikaw, what's your read on the whole decorum debate on the Senate?
Actually, when it comes to that issue, I think that we should all heed to the advice of the vintage senators. No, these are Tito Soto, si
Drilon.
Franklin Drilon, and
Lacson, yeah.
Kasi syempre matagal na sila dyan, may experience na. And their only interest is to protect the integrity of the Senate as an institution.
Ako naman ako mas medyo maano. Although yung pag medyo over naman yung talaga ng bigot eh. Pero nagigets kayo kasi minsan parang naglalaro lang nga sila, parang ang lax. Pero parang iniisip ko din, maybe, you need to parang change with the modern times na hindi masyadong stricto sobra sa ganitong
uptight. You think uptight masyado?
Uptight masyado, oo eh. Kasi ngayon, mas relax. Yung iba nagse-selfie siguro, yung iba so, maybe respectable pa rin, pero mas loose ng konti.
Right. So there could be a kind of a golden balance here, golden compromise. I mean, speaking of which, if you look at Senator Raffy Tulfo, he brought the Raffy way, like the way yung intervention niya as a YouTube, mahanap mo, like he made it interesting, no?
Show niya. Raffy Tulfo in action.
Exactly.
He brought that to the Senate.
But si Idol, Raffy, andun pa rin yung senatorial gravitas diba? The way he handles himself. I mean, he has as many years of public service experience as Robin Padilla as far as the Senate, because both of them are baguhan, right? Novice sila paro, but look at how each of them are approaching their office, the number one, number two. And my sense is, I agree with you na dapat medyo mas adjusted dun sa gusto ng tao nowadays, which is yung accessibility, yung entertainment, relatability. Kasi yun yung argument ni Robin Padilla. Ayoko bago yung sarili ko kasi ito yung relatable sa tao. Di mo? Pero relatable din si Raffy, pero hindi naman, you know what I'm saying, wala namang concern sa decorum. Hindi naman siya nagmumura sa Senado. The last time I checked, even nung inatake niya yung mga smugglers or alleged smugglers, hindi siya nagbibitaw ng mga words. Nakikita natin sa mga shows niya, di ba? Pero pagdating sa Senado, may respeto dun sa office. I don't know, ikaw anong basa mo? Kasi feeling ko, yung Raffy Tulfo transition is a better model if we're gonna play that game of adjusting to the spirit of the times or whatever.
Hindi kaso yun nga ang problema din siguro yung mga ine-elect natin eh. Kasi with Raffy, you expect that with Raffy that he brings his program, pero dahil mas senior siya, mas matanda siya, mas kumbaga mas hindi na siya ganun kumbaga mas refined na siya gumalaw, mas unlike itong mga bata, sikat, and of course si Idol Robin, artista before, walang history sa ganon sa politika or So I think
Lito Lapid is artista, pero never natin siya nakita na, you know what I'm saying, doing weird stuff there. Let's just be honest about. Akin naman, feeling ko, nung issue ng federalismo ay medyo nawala sa usapan dahil si Paulong BBM ay nagsabi mismo parang hindi ito priority. Let's work with what we got. Feeling ko biglang nawala ng momentum ito si Robin Padilla kasi yun talagang raison d'etre yan, no? Na to push dun sa federalismo and nung nakita niya wala talagang support and all, feeling ko naghahanap siya ng mojo niya ikaw anong basa mo? Like, di ba? Kasi parang one issue senator talaga siya dun Like, dun push ako sa federalismo. Good luck, hindi talaga mangyayari yan. Ikaw, anong basa mo sa Robin Padilla? Anong saysay? I mean, like, anong pwede niyang gawin to make the most out of his, situation?
Ang sa tingin kong pwede magiging direction ni Senator Robin Hood Padilla, yung ipupush niya yung mga sabi natin popular na mga issues of the day. So yun nga, before it was federalism, and I think that's one of the things din na nagpanalo sa kanya nung senatorial election. Maliban dun sa Gloria Macapagal Arroyo secret niya.
And Sarah Oh. Sarah Oh.
So, ina-expect ko na sa mga darating na panahon, magiging populist si Senator Robin Hood Padilla. Dadalhin niya yung mga issues.
Basta kung anong trend.
Yes. So, meron siguro siyang meron siguro siya magiging strategy na magiging listener din siya sa mga tao. Dadalhin niya yung mga issues sa Senado. So, yun yung parang ina-expect ko sa
ako, I'm slightly optimistic na learning curve lang to. I think, kasi nga marami
could you say na parang na siya, parang na reality check na pagpasok niya, parang ganun. Tapos, ito pala yung sistema ng Senado. Bago ka pa lang, you know your place, know your hindi ka pwedeng aasta kasi marami kaming nauna sa iyo before. Pero he's on his way to finding his groove pa lang uli siguro.
I'm sure Gian has something. Ako kasang take ko is no one expected na mag-number 1 siya. Tapos nag-number 1 siya. So that's suddenly like, whoa. And then pagpasok niya, na-realize niya, hindi rin ito ganun kadali. So I think he's going through the motions. Pero pwede niya hanapin yung mojo niya. Para sa akin bilang tanging Muslim, no? Na senador in very, very long time, to put it mildly, I think yung issue ng interfaith dialogue, Bangsamoro peace, sana doon talaga siya mag-focus. Kasi feeling ko it could be a very positive force.
I was going to say that is his biggest contribution talaga to the Senate.
In fairness to him, yes, in fairness to him.
Anything na issues related to our Muslim brothers and sisters, he
very passionate siya.
he's very...
Kasi hindi nakapasok sa Samira Gotok na, of course, also very,
in 30 years, siya pa lang ang nakapasok na. So doon sa aspeto na yon, di ba, like yung sa Batang Quiapo, when Muslims are being portrayed.
Yes, nag-call out niya yan, yung stereotypes.
He calls out na gano'n. So yung representation, that's his biggest contribution sa Senate, in my opinion. Pero yung in terms of legislation and sa mga iba, he's still finding his groove siguro.
Kasi yung federalism nawala ng momentum yan. Ikaw, Gian, anong take mo sa akin?
Kasi I think that he should take more time to listen to the senior senators. No? So, lahat naman ng tao natututo. And eventually, I'm sure that the good senator will learn from the veterans.
And I'm sure he's listening to Congresswoman Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. So mentor niya yan So I'm sure.
Right. At saka si ang pangalan nung dating Salvador Panelo, di ba? Yung advisor niya, di ba? Si Panelo, di ba?
Pero he's unti-unti, di ba? He's moving away from the PDP group.
Yeah. Nag-evolve na rin siya.
Nag-evolve siya, hinahanap niya yung baka nga, sa ko ba narinig, yung bagong binubuo nila, yung KNP. Baka nga doon, yung nagkaisang. So, he's still
what's that all about, Arjan Gian? Itong bagong kilusan. Literally, bagong kilusan.
Well, just like any, new president, ang pangarap kasi nila, meron parang movement na nasa likod nila Yan yung hindi nagawa ng dati
ni Digong.
Pangulo.
May effort, I think si June Evasco, I think yung force behind it, pero hindi na push.
Yung isang pagbabago.
Si June Evasco, yung dating supposed number 2 ni Digong, of course, Bongo change everything within a year. Yun talaga approach niya, grassroots driven. At of course, si June Evasco, may kaliwa yung background niya bago siya naging, the political that he was. But eventually, I think the calculation of the former administration was marami kang babanggay ng mga LGU leaders, warlords, etc.
Dynasties.
Wala ka sa position to pick that fight right now kasi yung war on drugs munang unahin natin. So that's why na-veto yan. But kung titignan mo lahat ng mga successful populists, whether si Erdogan sa Turkey, whether si Modi in India, or even leftist populists like Chavez, the Chavismo movement, lahat sila may very strong grassroots movement. Kaya nga, kahit gaano kagaling ang opposition nila, hirap na hirap sila kasi may grassroots space. Yun yung wala si Digong It's really the force of his personality Pero once wala siya sa eksena, back na naman to sa traditional politics and alignments na nangyari. So ngayon, titingnan natin if there's a move in that direction. Yun nga, for me, kaya nga ang argument ko nun, sa mga populists, ang pinakamahina is si Bolsonaro of Brazil and si Digong. Even though popular sila, especially si Duterte, because wala silang grassroots base. Because all of the big populists, whether si Trump, whether si Erdogan, whether si Modi, lahat, huge grassroots movement. I mean, literally, they can bring hundreds of thousands of people to the streets. May nakita ka ba nung 6 years ni Digong na may 1 million lalabas in support of Digong in any of the crisis period? Wala. Mahina din ang opposition, pero wala rin si Digong It was more like a performative popularity. Hindi siya organized, mobilized popularity.
Based on his,
Exactly. Kaya mahalaga itong issue ng kilusan niyan, and that's why I raised it. Now, I wanna say this because we hear a lot of people saying, kasalanan ng mga voters yan. Ginusto niya yan. But I also remember very, very well, someone like Jovito Salonga topped the Senate race not once, 3 times last time I checked, from the 60s all the way to the 80s. And Jovito Salonga is like par excellence, that kind of senator. So, Filipino voters have a track record of voting very A-class people. So the question is, how did we go from Jovito Salonga to X, Y, and Z. You know, what happened there? I mean, and for me, the celebrity politics trend started back in the day. Si Bong Revilla topped the race in 2010. Lito Lapid easily. Tito Soto was... all the influence with Tito Soto comes from quite a established... Di ba? Hindi yung the late Soto.
Family.
Exactly. So, yung celebrity politics, like really out of nowhere, ganon. You could say has been starting for a while. What is your understanding of that? How did we go from Jovito Salonga's dominated Senate 30 years ago, not long ago? I mean... we were born back during that time to where we are today. That some the critics will say circus, or some would say more interesting.
Pamilya nga eh. Pamilya eh.
Ayun pa, magkapatid, magkama, mag-ina, mga ganun. So, what are we looking at?
So, nabanggit mo na rin na celebrity politics. So, this is connected to yung technological changes na nangyayari sa bansa natin. So, nagkaroon ng mass media. Tapos ngayon, meron tayong
social
new media. Diba?
Yeah.
So, that's number one. But we should also not forget that, after decades after the Second World War, makita nyo, di ba, may reconstruction tayo sa ating bansa. Yung mga tao, nag-aantay lagi sila ng pagbabago.
Yeah.
Yun yung tema. So, tingin ko, nakapagpa-trigger kung bakit before, people were really looking for, sabihin natin, a very, qualified, idealistic na mga politicians. So, suddenly, gusto nila, easy win easy change mabilisan.
Naubusan ng pasensya.
Yun yung sa tingin ko. Okay. And then, i-connect ko lang siya dito sa recent natin na phenomenon, yung kay Digong, kay Duterte. Yun din nakita nila Duterte was an effective mayor of Davao City, mabilisan, no bullshit talk na. Yeah. So, yun yung parang sa tingin kong isa pang factor kung bakit before, nananalo mga Jovito Salonga, tumakbo siya. Don't forget, tumakbo siya bilang presidente. He lost. Ang tandem niya nga si Senator Nene Pimentel. Itong dalawang to, mga idolo natin. Pero kita mo, hindi rin siya binoto.
I think ito isang malaking factor din sa kung bakit ganyan yung Senado natin ngayon. Kasi how expensive it is to win as senator.
Yeah.
The only shortcut lang na kung hindi ka gagastos ng 1 billion is to be an artista kasi kilala ka na. Pero kung hindi ka artista
or sports icon.
Kung hindi ka celebrity.
Celebrity, yeah.
Kung hindi ka celebrity, kung hindi ka celebrity, you need to spend this much, 500 million, 1 billion to get into power.
So the entry barrier is very high.
So I think that comes down to sa election reforms.
Yeah.
If you want to do something.
We're going to talk about shortly. But Gian, what is your take on this? Before we go to the institutional legal part that I want to raise to you.
Tingin ko mas masasagot ni Arjen to pero sa akin kasi I think it highlights the weakness of our political party system. Kasi political parties are supposed to serve as guardrails of our democracy, di ba? Dapat ini-screen yan yung mga candidates natin sa whatever level, local or national. But if you have a dysfunctional political party system, wala na mag-screen. So kung sino-sino na lang yung pwede yung tumakbo, mga celebrities and kung sino yung merong pera.
Yeah, I mean, one of the jobs of political parties is to raise funds. Hopefully grassroots-driven funds, hindi yung apat na conglomerate mag-funds or something like that. So I think the original sin here is there was never really an effort since the establishment of the Philippine Republic to build real political parties. And then whatever two-party system ish we had, namatay nung dictatorship years. Kasi literally, one-man rule, not even one-party rule. It was really one. But after tapos na yung dictatorship, we don't have anti-defection laws, very serious laws that will support party building.
Yung pala nga, yung Dynasty bill.
So lahat yan, related yan. So kung titignan mo yung 1987 Constitution at titignan mo yung mga existing mga regimes to support political parties, almost non-existent. I mean, even India, other poorer democracies have very strict anti-defection law. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka pwede itong partido ka tapos bukas nundan ka sa kabila. May penalties yan sa ibang bansa. That's SOP. Wala yan sa Pilipinas. So, para idikit ko dun sinasabi mo, which is also always my argument why Duterte won, this grievance politics, this frustration politics, which our friends in the opposition don't seem to appreciate, right? They always say, disinformation. Yeah. It's like, no, people just got sick and tired of putting nice, looking people there with nice CV and then nothing really happened in their lives, right? So, but for me, it's also dati na ang dami mga kulang dun sa mga basic institutions at yung mga batas na to build real political parties. So, essentially, at some point, siguro mga voters sabi lang, ano na lang tayo, personality politics lang pala tayo. Wala namang real political parties, wala namang nangyari. Di doon tayo sa pinaka-lodi natin. Si Pacman.
Ito kilala ko to
sa pinaka-lodi natin, si Robin. Yun lang pala di ba? And last thing, I remember I had a conversation with Senator De Lima a few years ago, and I visited her. And I think one of the things that was raised there was hindi rin klaro sa tao ano yung trabaho ng senador. Like, because she was trying to explain the fiscalizer, which is started with Jovito Salonga, the idea that the senator is there to hold the president to account so that the president doesn't act in a majoritarian dictatorial sense. Hindi daw nagigets minsan na-appreciate ng tao yan kasi, wag na kayo kumontra dyan. Wait, trabaho namin yan. Hindi naman kontra, but to check, guardrails, yung term na ginamit mo.
Even Congress, diba?
Exactly. So related lahat tong mga to, di ba? So, for me, napaka-reductionist at mali yung i-voter blame mo lang. Kaya ganitong Senado. Dahil binoto mo sila. Kasi ang lalim ng ugat ng problema ng sinasabi natin Yung mga batas na kulang, yung mga hindi nagawa, yung mga kulang sa educational system that explains to people ano talagang trabaho ng senador, di ba? So, I think we're paying the price for the assignment that was not done over and over and again. And that's where we are.
Napaka-myopic kasi ng tingin ng ibang mga tao Ang problema natin, parang nare-reduce lang siya dun sa campaign period na 90 days Dun lang daw yun. Tapos after nun, ano na yan, effect na yan. So ako hindi. It's a process. As in, mahaba siyang proseso na kapag meron ka lang nagawang problema dito, I'm so sorry pero hindi tanga mga tao
Hindi.
Pag hindi mo na-fulfill yung promise mo, matatandaan ka nila. So ito mga mukha ng mga senador na nakita natin ngayon, ito na yung mga bagong mukha na in-aspire ng mga tao. So, nagsawa siguro sila dun sa mga traditional, well-known, na mga politicians in the past. Kaya siguro hindi na sila nanalo or hindi na sila umubra.
I mean, like, ilan bang tao na nanonood dun sa mga debate sa Senado? Right? Except kung si Tulfo ang... That's my point. That's exactly my point.
Changing the ano. Ganyan pala ginagawa ng senador.
Exactly.
Kapag
in-explain ni Rafi na yun.
Yun yung phenomenon na inaabangan ko ngayon na mag-evolve yung phenomenon na si Rafi Tulfo na dinala niya nga yung persona niya na isang media person na tinatawagan ng mga kababayan natin, di ba? Sumbungan. So, bilang senador, nakikita ko may effort siya na parang nagsusumbong yung mga tao sa kanilang mga grievances kay Senator Rafi. Tapos si Senator Rafi, walang takot.
Mapadalin
admin, alam mo yun? So, sana, makita rin natin yung changes na nangyayari. Wag na tayo mag-focus lang sa tao. Pero yung dinadala ng mga bagong senador, meron silang mga changes din.
Ito tanong ko siguro, nakita natin yung sistema ngayon. Ano yung mga changes na pwede nating gawin para yung mga magagaling na possible senators ang makapasok naman sa Budget 12?
Again, not to pass judgment or aspersions on any of the senators there, pero ikaw, Gian, bilang isang political scientist, isang modernong 21st century na demokrasya, anong mga kailangan na batas, anong mga kailangan mga reforma para makuha natin yung optimal outcome dun sa mga senators na meron tayo. Base dun sa sinasabi na sa Ligang Batas, yung trabaho ng mga senador natin. At especially since magkakaroon sila ng bagong magandang opisina dito sa BGC.
Ganda.
Diba?
Ganda ng opisina
ang ganda ng bagong senado na pare. So, paninindigan sana yan.
Ang tanong mo siguro, how do we get back to having our Jovito Salongas? Paano mas dumami yung ganun?
For the 21st century.
For the 21st century.
For the 21st century. Yun yung sinasabi. Bernie Sanders. Tingnan mo sila Bernie Sanders, matanda, pero ang galing dun sa social media, ganun, di ba? Ikaw, Gian, bilang isang political scientist, anong recommendations mo? Ano yung mga ingredients na kailangan to come together para we get the best possible, let's say, highest chamber at least? Ibang usapan na yung Kongreso, mahabang usapan. Let's just talk about Senate. Mamaya na tayo sa Kongreso.
Actually, para sa akin kasi mag-yield ako sa opinion ni ni Arjan pagdating diyan kasi sa tingin ko nasa
Nagmamahalan
expertise talaga niya. Hindi, naniniwala ako sa sa mga insights ni Arjan, napakaganda niyan. Pero para sa akin syempre andyan yung political party reforms, yung electoral reforms, and siguro mag-focus din sa sa education. Syempre
Education
na yan kailangan makapag-build ng awareness sa taong bayan para sila din eventually yung pili ng
Gian, si Rafi Tulfo was pushing, I think, for a bill that talks about legal education, na lahat ng Pilipino dapat may basic understanding of how court proceedings, punta ka sa piskal, punta ganun. Kasi diba yun ang criticism kay Rafi, hindi ka naman abogado Sabi, hindi naman kailangan abogado, maintindihan mo yung mga basics. So, kung ako nga, na hindi abogado, nag-gets ko na yan, dapat lahat ng Pilipino mag-gets nila. Kasi yung minsan ginagawa ng mga abogado, pinapakomplikado. Tingnan mo na yung pagsulat ng, hindi yan papasa sa editorial sa New York Times, yung mga nagsulat ng Constitution natin. For me, we should do a version for political science, right? Yung Pol Sci 101 for high school. Like, ito po yung checks and balances, ito po yung separation of... That's not a legal issue, that's a political science issue, right? Like, yun nga, kasi maraming bagay, mag-gets mo lang pag nasa college ka na. Pero ilan ba naman mag-aaral sa college ng political science or mag-law all the way? Very small minority. At karamihan ng mga yan, gusto nila to keep it among themselves. Pero in a democracy, people have to understand it. Ako, I'm not necessarily a fan of America. Pero kung titingnan mo yung saligang batas ng Amerika, ang simple. Ang liit lang ng yung constitution nila, ang daling basahin. At ordinaryong tao sa Amerika, medyo nag-gets nila yung basics of a federal system na komplikado. Sa Pilipinas, kahit yung mga educated, pag tinanong mo, hindi nila gets yung separation of power checks. Sa tingin mo, siguro pwede natin gawin. I'm asking you because, Gian, ikaw isa kang founding chair, no, ng isang political science program sa isa sa mga malalaking university. Of course, the Gong Green graduate dyan, no? You are an educator, no? So as an educator, sa tingin mo, siguro dapat gawin natin, no? Kung saan natin si Idol Rafi, no? Idol Rafi,
ito sa high school.
Gawa tayo ng political and legal textbook. Ito Kaya dito, agree ako dun sa kaibigan natin, si Leloy Claudia. Sabi niya, ang mga intellectuals, hindi lang dapat nagsusulat lang ng mga libro for themselves. Dapat textbook, pasukan natin yan. Kasi dyan papasok ang issue ng education, di ba?
Ba't di natin upo ang tatlo? Diba?
Talagang upuan natin yan. Kailangan natin ng vlogger para ma-promote yan. But di ka naman saying, kasi it's one thing for us to keep on saying, itong kailangan. Pero dapat nag-gets ng tao, na-appreciate ng tao, na kaya natin gawin yan at kailangan natin gawin yan Diba? Yun yung, at ano yung mga basics na. So kung ikaw, magbigay ka ng menu, no? Just basic menu without over-explaining it. Ano mga dapat nandyan na basics para magkakaroon tayo ng tunay na political party systems?
Ituturo for high school?
Yeah, so explain. Something na pwedeng mo explain sa taong bayan. Simple lang, no jargons, no nonsense.
For high school?
Yeah, for high school. Sabi na, magsulat ngayon tayo ng textbook. No? Paano mo explain itong kahalagahan ng Senado, etc. Paano natin ayusin itong sistema natin?
Okay, so syempre kasama na dyan yung basics ng constitution natin. Tapos yung sinasuggest ni yung nabanggit mo kanina, yung sinasuggest ni Senator Rafi yung sa
legal education.
Education, yung mga procedures. So siguro yung mga basic elements lang i-introduce na rin dun sa high school level.
So ikaw, Arjan, kung gusto mag-explain sa isang simpleng mamamayan, no? Ano ang modern party system? Bakit natin kailangan ng partido? Kasi I think many people are saying, bakit hindi naman talaga kailangan yan? We'll keep on going anyway, right? Life goes on. Para sa'yo, paano mo explain sa isang kaibigan natin, no? Any man on the street or woman on the street?
Ako, iyahan tulad ko siya sa isang samahan na isang grupo. Na, kunwari, meron lagi itong adikain, meron itong goal. Ang political party kasi, ang adikain niya or goal ay, dalhin yung issue ng mga tao sa gobyerno. Kailangan niya manalo sa eleksyon. So itong grupong ito, para manalo siya sa eleksyon, kailangan niya mangampanya. So, alam mo yun, maipaintindi mo sa tao na isa itong organisadong grupo. Na political ang kanyang vision, hindi katulad na ordinaryong grupo na market or business yung orientation. So, sana maintindihan nila na kailangan ng partido politikal. Parang isa siyang institusyon sa ating bansa, sa ating lipunan na may function. So pag wala ito, yun yung mga mangyayari. Mag-elect lang tayo ng isang popular. Oo. So kung gusto nilang mawala yun, yung problemang yun, yung isang politiko na hindi makakonect sa tao, yun nga, sumuporta sila, magtayo sila ng partido. Kasi alam mo, ang political parties ay para sa atin para sa tao ito, hindi ito para sa mga elitista or dynasty. So yun yung sigurong approach ko.
At saka practically speaking, dun sa political parties, pooling of resources yan eh. Meron kang staff, meron kang tao, sabihin natin,
practice kasi dito sa atin, hindi ganun yung nangyayari talaga.
hindi nangyari kasi hindi pumapayag yung mga dynasties and trapos na magkaroon ng tunay na political parties kasi maging competition sa kanila yan. So, kaya nga tama yung sinabi mo, hindi pwede magkaroon ng real political parties kung hindi rin labanan itong problema ng dynasties. For me, sorry, I'm cutting you, but I think this is very important. Kailangan talaga na the dynasty will not go away. But the situation na 90% ng Kongreso may dynasty, medyo extreme na. Siguro 15% pwede pa realistically. Pero so mitigation. So hindi tayo utopian, no? Hindi mawawalang dynasties. Given na yan, may mga families talaga will be prominent. Pero medyo sobra na yung level ng Philippines. The worst on earth. The worst on earth by any measure. This is the worst dynastic politics situation anywhere on earth.
Gusto ko lang din idagdag. Ang ganda ng idea nga eh. Nasa high school pa lang, ituro na, ano ba trabaho ng barangay chairman? Konsehal. Ano ba? Kasi yung konsehal hindi din alam eh.
Correct.
Na vice mayor, mayor.
Mag-TikTok.
Nakababanat ka na.
Just explain. Wala naman daw Wala naman
Session.
Nakaganyan lang.
Yun, ano ba trabaho ng congressman? Kasi ang mga kababayan natin ini-expect, yung congressman wala namang proyekto na binaba, wala namang pinagawa dito yan na wala, parang ganun yung tingin nila sa congressman, dala lang ng project, hindi yung sa aspeto ng paggawa ng batas. Ang maganda ituro sa high school kasi yung mga high school na yan, in a few years, boboto na sila. Yeah. 'Di ba? Kailan pa natin ituturo pag college na sila? By that time, nakaboto na sila, na sila sa
nagawa na nila yung trabaho nila.
Nagawa na nila. Oo, 'di ba? Maganda bago pa lang mag age ng voting, maturuan na.
Ako may dadagdag lang ako, no. So maliban doon sa mga nabanggit natin na intervention, high school level, college level, siguro yun nga itong ginagawa natin ngayon, real talk. Ito maganda rin tong paraan na mag-educate sa mga tao maliban sa traditional media, mass media, na sana mag-step up din sila in the coming years. Itong new media. So I'm sure marami rin sa mga vloggers ngayon ang concern sa ating bansa. So sana tuloy-tuloy lang yung usapan. Para alam mo yan, lahat ng tao, kahit saan man sila pumunta, traditional media, new media, meron sila matututunan.
Correct. I mean, libre to, di ba? Hindi mo kailangan magbayad para panoorin to. Of course, hindi libre gumawa ng ganito, pero libre panoorin. So, public service na to, yung ginagawa namin dito. Hindi naman kami nagpaparinig, sinasabi lang namin. Ikaw, Gian, some final thoughts dito sa issue ng reaching out to the public, no? Paano tayo magkakaroon ng effective political public education movement kung saan? Kasi, yun ang basa ko even doon sa mga super educated daw na tao, pag kinausap mo, parang di nila gets talaga yung basics eh. Parang bits and pieces lang kinakonnect. In the same way na tayo, ignorante din tayo sa ibang bagay. I'm sure sa pag-business ang pag-usapan, baka hindi tayo ganun kagaling pag pinag-usapan natin. So, it's not a judgment on intellect. It's just an issue of wala tayong basic education system na nag-develop ng comprehensive understanding of public policy and issues that, kaya, I mean, I'm for entrepreneurial literacy programs. I'm also for political and legal education literacy programs. High school pa lang dapat alam mo na hindi na kailangan mag-MBA ka or gano'n. Just basics, not to be expert. Kasi kung wala kang well-informed on key issues na citizenry, magre-reflect talaga yan eventually. And that's not a function of IQ or kung maayos kang tao. This is not a judgment on the person. It's a judgment on the system not preparing our voters in the best way possible that they deserve, no? Just to be clear, baka ma-cancel tayo dyan mamaya. Okay. Yes, Gian.
Yeah. Kasi nare-recall ko yung isang sinulat mo sa isang opinion column. Kinote mo si Jose Rizal, no? So parang genius has
no country.
No country. Then just listening to my former classmate naman, nare-recall ko yung isang teacher namin na mahilig mag-quote ng mga works ni Jose Rizal.
Yeah.
So isa sa mga lagi niya binabanggit sa class yung line na through education, a country receives light. Nare-recall mo yun? Yeah. Through education, a country receives light. So, sa tingin ko, tama lang na mag-focus tayong lahat sa pag-spread ng awareness pagdating sa political party system, sa political education. And I think that we should also consider tapping the help of the PPSA. Kasi syempre baka makapag-provide din
Ito yung
sila
Philippine
ng
Political Science Association.
science.
So ito yung mga professional organization na may public service week.
Yeah, so baka makapag-contribute din sila dyan ng mga insights, no?
Right. Mark, any final thoughts before we round up this episode?